Hello everyone and welcome to another video and welcome to my BMW 318i. Now this video is a bit of an update because a lot has happened with this car. So if you remember last time, because this car I haven't featured a lot of lately, this car and the updates, but then this was a very important update that I wanted to share with you guys. So if you remember last time, there was an SOS alert which was going on in my car. There was a warning, and then that alert was not bothering me, so I did not bother about getting rid of it, because I had to give the car for like 2 to 3 days, and then it just wasn't possible to live without a car, especially in UAE. So I decided to just give that thing a hold. But there was another warning that popped up in my car, and that warning was the drivetrain warning. So in today's video I am going to be explaining you all what exactly was that warning about, and it's actually a big part failure. 10 days back I got a warning of a drivetrain error. So this was like an orange color warning, but it actually popped up 20 days back, and then at that point of time I just restarted the car, and then the warning went back, because sometimes it does tend to happen, there is sensors, and then sometimes they would just show those warnings. But this time when I switched off the car, which is 10 days back, the car had warning again, like the warning did not go. And then another thing that was a huge difference from the last time when the car was running normal was the drop in power. So there was a significant drop in power, and the car was literally just limping wherever I was going. And luckily I was just right next to the BMW workshop when this whole fiasco happened. And then I did a bit of a googling, and then I found out that there were a few problems which could have happened with the car. So the first problem could have been with the engine block. Now inside the engine block, specifically the spark plugs. Now if one of your spark plugs just stops functioning, then again you have the misfiring inside. Another problem could be the ignition coil, but again if that sort of thing was happening, then the engine would start jerking. So nothing sort of that was happening, so there was clearly no misfiring. The next problem could be the high pressure fuel pump. Now that high pressure fuel pump is one of the factors that could have clearly gone wrong with this car. So because the warnings would come and go when I was driving also, and then that was very evident when I was going on a steep inclined slope somewhere, or on a bridge somewhere, and then when there was a demand for power. So at that point of time the warning would come up, and then that could possibly be the fuel pump. Another problem could have been the catalytic converter. Now again, there are so many sensors inside this, so that drivetrain warning is like clubbed together with so many sensors. So if there is a catalytic problem, there is a spark plug issue, if there is ignition coil, so all of that warnings would just pop up with that single message. So it's like you have to plug in the OBD, and then you have to see for yourself that what is going on, or the BMW specialist would put that computer and then plug in and then see what exactly is wrong with the car. Anyway, so continuing, there is also the fuel injectors that could go wrong, but again there was nothing with the engine. So because there was no jerking, because immediately then you would sense that, but again fuel injectors could be one of the factors. Then the next problem was the turbocharger. Now the turbocharger, time and again I have mentioned that when these downsized engines are put in cars, they go through a lot of stress cycles. But I was just hoping that it wasn't that case, because turbocharger is a big part, and if it fails, it's a big sort of work that you have to do. So I give the car to the BMW workshop. Now 2 days later they come back to me saying that my turbocharger had failed. Yeah, that was the thing which I was fearing, and that is exactly what happened. So you see, my point was that the turbocharger is the biggest part that can go wrong, because it's always under high stress, especially out here in UAE, where cars are doing somewhere between 100 to 120 to 140 kilometers on the national highways. So because of that, the stress cycle, and bear in mind my car has just done over 35,800 kilometers, and it's just 1 year and 8 months. But luckily BMW had the exact turbocharger in stock for this 3 Series. But if they did not have, I was looking somewhere between 1 week to 10 days to even 2 weeks, and that's a long time, you know, to be living without a car. And so again, they had the turbocharger and they fitted it and they gave me back in 3 days. So they took a total of 5 days to fix the turbocharger issues. Now for me, the car is under warranty for 5 years, which is why I had all these parts covered, and you know, I did not have to worry about, you know, downsized engines are good, but when these parts fail, they are a bit of a pain, especially when engines are supercharged and turbocharged like Volvos. Don't know what will happen after that. So uh, again, so my car was under warranty, so I had no issues. But if you have a car without a warranty and if this turbocharger fails, now the exact reason what exactly happened in the turbocharger could be many things. So there is an oil leak that can happen inside the turbocharger, or because of lack of oil also the turbocharger can fail, or it's simply the manufacturing defect because of which the turbocharger can fail. So now because then it just adds up, you know, why there was no power for this car when I was driving, and which is why I literally saw like 50% drop. And now that the new turbocharger has been fitted, the car is just running so smooth. This warning was not that severe, and always on the screen it was showing me that, you know, I can still continue my journey. So I wasn't really, you know, sure, but it's just that because I realized that there was a power drop, and then I just took it to the workshop straight. So if there is no warranty, then we are looking anywhere between $3,500 for this turbocharger, which if you convert, I think it's 10 to 12,000 dirhams. So yeah, it's a very expensive part, and then it's not like you can live without that part, like, you know, like a headlight or some accessories where if you don't put it's all right. It's a turbocharger, it affects the performance, and for that reason maybe it's still, the manufacturers need to look at this aspect, that, you know, the turbochargers need to be really, you know, they should be having a long life. And yeah, they, when they design these engines, they have to make sure that, you know, the turbochargers aren't stressed. But if this happens, you know, later on down the life, so one great tip would be, when you're buying a used BMW or any downsized turbocharged car, make sure to check the turbocharger by checking its seals around, because you would obviously find a sort of oil leak around, or you, when you are driving, you will also observe if there is a warning on the screen. Then if there is a drivetrain warning, then get this car thoroughly checked before buying it. And if you feel like the power is very unusual, so it will come and go, and then when you release the throttle pedal, the car would suddenly take it back, you know, and then it would just like decelerate suddenly. So that's one of the cues that, you know, something is wrong with the engine or the bits around it. So I think, which is why I wanted to make this video and make you guys aware about, you know, what had gone wrong with this car. Also, my SOS alert warning has also been solved with this trip to the workshop. So that again was like a battery which had to be replaced for the system, so that battery keeps the SOS on all the time, so that, you know, even if the car battery isn't powering up that system, you can still press the emergency button and, you know, inform the emergency services around. Anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. I hope this video was informative and educational for you to understand what to look out for when you're buying a used turbocharged, especially downsized turbocharged engines. And also let me know in the comment section if you've ever faced any turbocharger issues, because I want to know, and I am actually collecting data as to how many people are actually going through this. It may be any brand, so, you know, not just BMW but any other brand that you come across, and you have faced a turbocharger issue and or are still facing it. And let me know how is your experience with the whole, you know, turbocharger, in terms of the cost, in terms of the time, in terms of, you know, how the whole experience is. Anyways, now if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye and take care.